Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Three Beans on a Pod. Today, we're going to be talking about A24's Backrooms movie. It just came out last week, May 29th, opening weekend. We would love to just kind of dive into this. This is something that we were all excited for when it was announced and we saw the trailers, things like that. So, a brief synopsis if you don't know anything about the Backrooms movie, it follows a main character. His name is Clark, who is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, um, who unknowingly stumbles upon this extra dimensional portal in his basement that leads him into said back rooms. And so it also has his therapist as one of the other main characters, played by Renate Rayenziv. I believe that's how you say it. Uh, and it's a pretty interesting story. I think it's a really cool one to unpack. And I guess to start us off, what do you guys think? I know when we first watched it, there were very different opinions on the rating. So what do you guys give it out of 10?
Um, you know, I didn't have any information on the show going into it. I don't watch the meme stuff that it was kind of generated from. All I knew is that the back rooms was kind of like this horror liminal space that you could get stuck in, but I didn't really know what was supposed to happen if you got stuck. So I didn't really have any expectations going into the movie. And then after the first trailer, I was really sold on it just because it kind of seemed interesting. It seemed something different. For watching the movie, I think I was completely right on my assertion. Yeah, it was a completely different type of movie. It was a lot of fun. It played with the idea of just these liminal spaces and how they are ever shifting. It's this own unique universe that exists, kind of like layer by layer on like the side or parallel to our own universe. And it just melds and molds your mind the entire time you're watching it. I even found myself trying to map out the place based off of the iconography that they would pass all the time. I was like, how close are they to the opening? It really builds the tension that way. You never know when they're opening another door, they're sliding into something. And because of that, I was just on the edge of my seat for most of the film. Not so much scared as much was just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. So for me, I really enjoyed it. It was a blast. And for me, I'd give it like an eight, maybe 8.5 out of 10.
I kind of agree the same way. So like when they, it was, I feel like it was only a few months ago or whenever it was when we realized that this movie was coming out and how I think the majority of us were super excited because it's not like I followed this like lore of the Backrooms ever since this came out, but I've always known about it. And like even when the games came out, I did follow some walkthroughs of like people playing them and stuff like that, and then watching some videos of like how it all created from a single photo to a Reddit post to stories, and then from the series that came out, and then like obviously the games that came out. So it's really excited what they were going to do. And I know like in one of the episodes we talked about how Ryan said it would have been really good like when the trailers were coming out if it was all done like on a video cam, and that's how like
Mhm.
the position they took. And obviously watching the trailers, that's not what they did, but they kind of like mixed it up with all the different shots. I thought it was great. I thought it was better than
Mhm.
what I thought was gonna come when after watching the trailers and stuff. I loved it. I thought it was super suspenseful. I thought the pacing was great of how they gradually reveal stuff in the story throughout the movie, and when they decide to reveal it, I thought it was fantastic. So like I mean leaving it, I thought it was like an 8.7 out of 10. Like I would rewatch it again because I think there's even more stuff that people have missed in the
We are
movie if you
gonna,
went to go back and see it again.
yeah, me and my wife are gonna go see it again.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess I fall in the minority here, and it's not that I don't like the movie. I think it was really good. Like I think visually it was good. Sound design was good. Set design was good. I think there was a lot of attention to detail on the back end. The only thing for me was I just didn't feel like the story was like super great. And I know my initial reaction was like, okay, it's good. Um, it's not one that I'm like raving about or ready to go back to the theaters to see. And because of that, my initial reaction was about a 6.8 out of 10. I like the reason it's around there is primarily because the story, because I feel like the visuals themselves were really good, which is the problem, which kind of sucked for me because I was like, it's really good in the sense that visually it's cool, but I just feel like nothing happens, and like the story with the way it drives forward was just kind of like, for Clark's character, it was good. For the Doctor, it wasn't, and it, I found myself like wondering throughout the movie who is actually the main character. Like, obviously, we're following both, right? But at the end of the day, there has to be a main that they were following, and it presented as though it was supposed to be Clark, but he doesn't get as much backstory as the Doctor does. But like the way that the Doctor gets backstory is all like flashbacks, and then he just gets therapy sessions, which is more exposition for his character. And I just feel like it wasn't as good as it needed to be to flesh out who these characters really are. And even by the end, I was like, okay, Dr. Mary, like, who are you to the Backrooms? Because you keep getting presented as a key part of the Backrooms, or like you have a significant tie to the Backrooms, but we're also not diving into more of your character. So we're getting hints of your present character, and then we're just getting a lot of flashbacks. And then for Clark, we're just getting a lot of his character and not enough backstory. And I think his character was, if they would have fleshed that out a little bit more, it would have been better. Okay, because realistically, the wife and things like that, him getting kicked out, that's character motivation for why he's staying in the store. His therapy sessions and all this other stuff to get rid of it, you're already opening that gate that he's a little crazy. And then for him to be an architect and be the one to find it, that presents the opportunity for him to be the one to map it out. So like that makes sense. But a lot of that focus that they were giving on her just felt out of place, because it's like, I feel like there was no payout for her character personally. And so because of that, I was like, story wise, it brought it down a lot. But I don't think that that's Kane Parsons' fault, because he also didn't write it. The two guys that wrote it only have TV credits, and so they've only written like a couple things starting from like 2013 to 2022 or 2021 or something like that. And then now here we are in 2026 where they're writing a feature film, and it just didn't land for me.
Like I said before, like when it comes to the story, like the story, the more you watch it, like for me, isn't so much about, Clark or the therapist. It's like it's about the back rooms. That's why for
100%.
me, it was able to switch those characters, so seamlessly, and like it just to continue with that story,
Hmm.
right? Because I think you quickly
I got
realize, just like even the way the backrooms are, is like it quickly changes to, not Clark's memory of it being
Hmm.
deformed in the backrooms to her memory being deformed in the backrooms.
Hmm.
Her it being like, her memory of the house. And like I think even then, like I saw a video of when, before she goes into the memory of the furniture store, she's in that space where it's just like an inverted like tower. It's like that huge like pit where she had to climb the
Hmm.
stairs into the doorway. Either
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
way,
yeah.
gosh.
it had
I don't
to.
know why that bothered me so much. I don't know why that
Yeah.
bothered me so
It awoke
much.
in your fear of heights.
When she walked, I don't know. When she opened up that door and she like leaned over and it was like a massive infinite void, something inside me was
Hmm.
like, nah.
It was weird because like they said, like people compared it to the building that was taking place of her childhood home. So when it
Mhm.
got pulled down, the reason it got pulled down is because they were making a huge tower, and
Yeah.
there's like one or two scenes where like it was just a still image of that building, right? And so that space, the endless pit, was like an inverted space of that building, and so
Hmm.
like it quickly changed to like her memories and what she remembers of stuff, which was pretty interesting to see. So it's like to me, it wasn't really about Clark the entire time. I think the majority of the stuff that was happening was his memories, and then it just quickly changes to her, and it's just more information of just how the backrooms work is given.
Yeah,
And it's pretty weird. Last thing I'll say before someone else talks is like before the movie was set out and before even the movie showed the trailers, the producer even said that the way it was produced and the way the final touchings of the movie that was edited is like you can see a sequel happening after this movie.
easily.
Mhm.
Infinite room to go anywhere, honestly. I guess the reason why I don't agree, and this is probably why I like seeing movies with my wife or just a group of people, is we tend to like have that powwow after a movie. So I went and saw it with three people, my wife and two friends of mine. Um, and we all had like a powwow where we like talked about everything and we all kind of slowly pieced together like the parts we had missed because there's a lot of intrigue in the movie. There's a lot of what's going on, and because of that, it kind of forces you to not pay attention as much because you're grasping at straws on one side and you completely miss the other thing on the other side. And one of the things that we all kind of came to the same conclusion, I was just like, well, this show is like tremendously about trauma. Like the whole movie is about like your back rooms is your trauma. Like you literally live yourself in like your inability to like move forward. So it's like the decay of your mind, essentially. It's the stacking of like what was the line in the movie? He says like it's the memory or it's the memory of a memory, like what it thinks the image was. That's like what the backrooms is. It's the memory of what you believe your memory to be, um, and that's why. Clark wasn't the main character is because he didn't want to move on. He didn't want to grow. He just wanted to stay stagnant. He wanted to never change and be nothing. Essentially, he didn't want to take accountability for any of his actions. He just wanted to kind of just be a drunken mess and blame the world for everything, because that was easier for him. And so he wasn't even really anybody. And that was kind of the point is that she wasn't that way. She got out of her back rooms long before she even encountered it in the movie. She got out of her back rooms when she was living with her mom because that's what her life was. She lived in a hollowed out room filled with nothing. She wasn't allowed to leave. And um, that was her escaping that. And her trauma was getting past that why she carried around the piece of her hand, like the handprint throughout the entire movie. And that's why she's having those like flashbacks during the movie. It's her trying to escape that last little bit of her trauma. And then she does at the end of the movie when she inevitably uses the stone, her hand to beat back Clark's demon monster form that she has. She literally breaks it up over his face. And the moment she does that, she escapes. So that's kind of the stuff that make me go like, oh, she's the main character. When I see her seeing all these history, like these flashbacks throughout the show, nobody else gets that. It's only her, and she's the only one kind of having these moments of self-reflection. Clark never has a moment of self-reflection. Clark is only ever on to the next complaint, the next gripe, or the next obstacle that he's like going to have to blame on somebody else. Like throughout the entire movie, he's acted perfectly. I think he does I think the actor is doing a phenomenal job. I just think that for me, way through the film when he was running away and he goes in that room with the Christmas tree, and then the other two like people have been got at this point. I was sitting there going like he's dead or something's going to shift. I was like, because when he went in there, I was just like, he's not the main character. It's like this isn't following his story. He's just the impetus for the next half of the film, and then that's what they did. So I don't know. I think on a second viewing, I'm really going to enjoy it because I do want to start watching some of the content that they put out. I do want to start reading some of the lore and see what little Easter eggs or things and references. I was told by a bunch of people, I shouldn't say a bunch of people. I was told by two people that were there that were big into the back rooms, my two friends, and they were like, "Oh, this and this and this is a reference," and I'm like, "I don't know what any of that means, but I'll put on an hour YouTube video and I'll go watch it." So I'm excited to do that. I think yeah, I think the characters are well defined. I think they're well laid out. I don't think they need to be don't need to know Clark's deepest, darkest like moments. I don't need to see his past because he acts his past because he never escapes it. He never admits to anything that he's done, so he's just forever stuck in this stagnant. He's basically the zombies that he eats in the film. He's a still life himself. He never moves on. So it's just that was enough for me to like understand his character for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I guess one of the things that I appreciate about the movie was the creativity on like the set design, the intentionality with their sound design. That's why I just feel bad because it's like I think Kane Parsons really did what he was paid to do. I think that he created this visual scape that was like, oh, it transports you in. You do a lot of creative decisions with obviously like switching from. And I will say, I stand corrected. I do think that the mix of both, the proper technique shots and then uh,
The cam.
the handy cam stuff. I think that it was a perfect mix, and partially it's because halfway through the movie I get really bad vertigo, and like the camera was doing this, and so like I'm trying to watch as he's going through like each room into the swimming pool room and like all these other things into the Christmas room, and I'm like this because every time he moves that camera, dude, I was like, oh, I'm about to puke. Um, but like I
Calm
watched
down, Clark.
I was like, whoa, please stop. But that's one of the reasons I couldn't watch Cloverfield is because like the way that you move with the camera, like I get it. It's supposed to be natural. It's supposed to be human. But I also feel like to some degree, like you got to know people are watching it. So like chill out with shaking it so much. I don't know. That's just me. But it did make me a little sick. Um, but again, I think
That
I
cracks
think
me up.
I think a lot of the like power from the story came from the visuals. For me, I would have loved to see, which I understand. Like A24, they're going to give him X amount of money to like direct it and show his creation off. I think the problem there is that like with something like that, when it is your passion project, right? And you're just there to direct it, but you don't have as much creative control in the writing process because I mean, he's only credited with the foundational lore and like the Backrooms overall. But the other two writers that actually wrote the story, they get the writing credits for actually developing, the full script and everything. I just think that like if he had done it, I would have loved to see what he would have wrote. You know what I mean? Because visually, he created something very good. Like from a psychological thriller standpoint, you're watching and you're like, oh, like this is really good. So when there's not a whole lot of dialogue and like stuff driving that forward, at least visually, it's moving that story in the direction that it needs to go. And then you get like the rest of the script and dialogue and stuff like that. And that's where I just feel like it didn't hit for me. I feel like
I
it could have been
guess.
better.
I mean, sure. I guess I just don't see it because there's just nothing. I don't know Kane Parsons. Like, I don't know what he does. Like from the little bit of information I got is that he didn't create the lore. He just made the most popular videos. Like it was like he created the style of some of like the
Yeah.
crazier liminal stuff. So I'm just like I don't even know if he's a writer. So it's just as a director he has a vision and he hopes the writers can help bridge that vision. And
Mhm.
a lot of the times if I felt like the writing was great and he did a good job showing his vision with the directing. I, I can't really see anything where it felt like somebody was really heavy handed and was like, this is what we got to do or we don't do. So for me personally, I can't really say whether or not it wasn't the version he wanted to do. Um,
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying, I'm just saying like overall, that's where it fell short for me was the story. Visually, it
yeah, I
was
feel you.
great. The story was just kind of okay. There were a few times in that movie that just reminded me of Vivarium, and I also didn't like that movie. It's another movie kind of similar in like this liminal type of feeling. or like a dreamscape movie, whatever. But it's a psychological thriller with Jesse
Jesus,
Eisenberg,
instant.
and it's okay. And I think I saw a little bit of that DNA in this, and I was just like, yeah, it's story wise, it's okay. Visually, it was great.
Well, I love the story because like it just again it like emphasizes like the unknown to the back rooms,
Yeah,
and so like the story being I think even like more open ended, even with the 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 therapist like storyline, like
hmm
hers is still like open ended to
yeah,
like why things were the way they were,
hmm
and all that, and like some of the things that reviews that I looked into and that they pointed out in the movie is like there's a lot of like unanswered questions about that movie
Yeah,
of
sure.
yeah,
you know and I
yeah,
love that, and like you said, like visually great. One of like the
hmm
best things that that unsettled me the most is they would switch back and forth from like the camcord view, and then like they would have like a real point of view
hmm
of like whoever's walking and them just like peeking over through like the door, and that
yeah,
just made me so unsettling. Like I would like
yeah,
literally close my eyes, like I can't, like I don't want to see what's around that corner. And then they would keep doing that, just like a point of view of like the camera just peeking around the corner. And I absolutely
yeah,
hated it, but I thought it was really good.
There,
yeah. And I think with that I loved the part where they ended up in the very bottom where they tied the guy. I don't know his actual name. It was like Finn or something like that, right? Is
oh,
that the
Bobby.
actor?
Uh,
Bobby. Okay, yeah, that's
yeah, the
that's the
character
actor's
Bobby.
name. So Bobby, when they tied him and he just went down, and you're watching that like lower level, I think I liked that the most when they were doing the whole backroom stuff because it's like, okay, you're deeper in it, whatever. But there was a part where he's like scanning, and my brain was like, oh my god, there's a face in that pile.
Yes.
There
Until
was. There was.
I thought it was like one of the creatures until I was like, oh no, that's the little
Yeah.
cardboard cutout of the guy speaking. But the way that it was laid out visually, I was like, oh my
No,
gosh, there's
because
something there. Look, and then
there's like multiple things. 'Cause, like I saw that, I'm like, is that a head? And then I was like,
yeah,
what's gonna happen?
See,
And then I was like, oh, that's
because
like the cutout.
yeah, because it could be the cutout. It probably was, but it could also have been one of the still lifes just being in there, which would have been equally as creepy. Doesn't really matter. It was creepy as really did. It really unsettled me.
But even then, like when he was in the Christmas tree thing, so he's like walking in it, and it's just like it's
Yeah.
just center there, and he walks behind it. Like I'm not sure about y'all, but it's just that dark image. It
mhm,
reminded me of like sleep paralysis. Like you
yeah,
Mhm.
it's like what's there, and then it just flickers the light. I'm like just nearly pooped my
That
pants, and then you just see the women come from nowhere. Like it was so bad.
I do like. I love that. That scene was good. I think it was funny because I'll tell you the scene that I like the most, the one I was just like, oh, the pit thing for whatever reason just struck a nerve for me. I don't know why, but the scene that I was just like, "Ooh, that's terrifying." I'd hate to be in that position. Was when she makes it up to the backrooms version of the entire furniture store, where she's now
yeah,
looped all the way, and she gets to it. It's just a wall at the front door, and then she turns around. You just see the out of focus silhouette of the giant pirate. I was like, oh no. I was like, that's terrible. That one freaked me out because I would hate to be in that scenario. And
yeah,
then my
Well,
wife's go ahead.
well, I was just in comparison to the same thing when she goes down there and she's looking at that mural coloring wall, and then
Mhm.
she turns around, she can hear Clark. I'm not sure if you've had the same effect. So like when I was hearing it in theaters and like Clark first says something,
mhm,
I think he said like "Don't be afraid" or whatever he says. It like it was it was actually kind of loud. Like it wasn't like he was whispering. It felt like he was right there, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden he just pokes like half his body out from that
yeah,
corner, and he's just standing there. I was like, "What is going on?" And then
Okay, that's my wife's scariest scene for her.
mhm,
it was
It
freaky.
was it was really unsettling for her, and she said it was really well done because she said the camera doesn't focus on him. It's looking past him, but he's right there, and it's almost like he's not supposed to be seen, but your eyes catching it out of the corner. And she said
Hmm.
it really just messed with her. She's like, what is gonna happen? Like, even though they didn't do anything, like it just really unsettled her. It just made her feel like so creeped out.
And like the way that I'm not sure because like I said, like the way they audio did it when he was talking, so he's
Mhm.
like he's not focused in the frame, but like he's almost whispering, but it's loud enough where it's like it almost seems like he's talking right next to you.
Yeah,
It's just like
Yeah,
it
it
was
was really
very
well done.
unsettling.
yeah. And see, that's what I'm saying is like their creativity in what they did, like with directing, is really where the strong suit lies in this movie for me. I just like things like that, little things like that. Um, I'm trying to remember what was one of my favorite parts. Um, well, I mean, honestly, going back into that upside down backrooms thing, I'm looking at her at the door and then him in the background. I'm like, yeah, you're scared, but you could easily run around him. You know how much open space is in that back room? I was looking at it and I was like, man, if I was in that, but like also if I was in that situation, I probably would be like, there's nowhere to run. I'm
No, I
stuck.
just no, because I
I'm
think
I
doomed.
would just sit down and go like this, just
I was
waiting
just
to
yeah, dude. I was
die.
like, I told my girlfriend, I was like, if I was there, I was like, I would just snap my own neck or something. Like I could not physically
Oh
like
yeah.
Just
well, because like also like the way it started. So when he first goes in there, and he's like looking around, and I remember saying, I was like, why does he keep going? Why is
Hmm.
he just like turn back and then keeps going? And he sees the mannequin, whatever it's speaking, however languages, and then he sees the camera, and then he opens that trap door with that duffel bag, and then he decides to go in that trap door, and so he's through the other room. He turns around, and that's when he first hears the what do you call it? Not the still life, but the monster throughout the movie.
I think
It
it's just a monster. It's the
yeah,
still life version of him.
right.
Hmm.
But like when it first like broke that mannequin into pieces, it was
Mhm.
so loud,
It
and
was.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
it
so
was.
loud.
it
I was sitting
scared
there,
me
it got
so
quiet. He
bad.
goes, hello, and it just gets quiet and you boom. What was like
That and the moment when, and this is a nice little thing. This is my buddy Caleb told me this, and I'll have to go back and rewatch the movie to see if he's right. But I'm pretty sure he caught it. The moment when they were doing the flashback for Mary when she's a little girl and she's too scared to open the window and she keeps looking back at the front at the kitchen, and then the mom shows up and is like, Mary, and like the music gets so loud in that moment, it
Mhm.
made me jump. I was like, huh. And it was like it freaked me out for that second. Like I wasn't the tension was wrapped up. It was really ranked up there for that moment. But my
Yeah.
buddy Caleb, he said, I think they use the same sound effect for the monster when it's like lurking, like when it's approaching, when she showed up. Like when she showed up, it made the same noise. And I was like, if they did that, that's really clever sound design. I'll have to go watch the movie again and see if I notice that.
Yeah. No, I don't I think it was probably just the theater that I was in, but I don't think anybody took the movie seriously, which was actually kind of
Ah, it's a
funny.
shame.
Not really. It was actually a great experience because right when he's going through after he picks up the badge and like looks through the duffel bag, when he goes to crawl into the like tunnel into where his throne is or whatever, he like looks back and then he like raises his head and I don't know if you pay attention, but he like you could tell it wasn't scripted. He just like bangs his head on the ceiling of it and then like flinches and crawls through. Everybody in the theater started laughing. And I was like, I don't think that was intentional. Like, I don't think he purposely slammed his head into the top just to get laughs. And it was funny because then, like, after that, a couple of times, it was like we were playing with like Mario and Sonic in the back, dude, because I was sitting there and multiple times throughout the theater or throughout the movie, I don't know if their pockets were loose or whatever, but like something would something would happen on the screen that was like a jump scare or something that was shocking or whatever, and you would just hear somebody's change fall out of their pocket, and I was like, it happened like twice, and I was like, oh my goodness, that was so funny.
I love that.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I don't know because I mean, again, like I love movies where it's just like there's just some deeper questions that still need to be answered, but they're obviously
Hmm.
very like it's intentional. Like there's
Yeah.
movies where like or even shows we've talked about where like there's deeper questions, but it wasn't intentional, like and
Yeah.
stuff like
Right.
that. But like this was good because it brings I forgot what I told y'all. It like brings the aspect of it. Like I think I said like it follows. Like I think
Yeah.
it does really well of not exposing too much too soon in the
Mhm.
movie and like the way it was
Hmm.
shot, especially like in that first scene, like I was saying, like it destroyed that mannequin, that loud thing, and then it instantly just goes to him searching for that door, that small door. And so when he's
Hmm.
crawling up to it and he's trying to open it up, he's like constantly looking back, but he's not is throughout the scene when he leaves, he doesn't ever see it again,
Yeah.
nor does he ever even see it. And so it's
Hmm.
just like this emphasis of this feeling that it's right there behind you and it's coming,
Right.
but you don't ever
And
see
they
anything.
Yeah, and they don't that's the what I like about It Follows and this movie too, and any horror movie where sometimes the worst thing a horror movie can do, especially when it's doing something supernatural, is it demystifies the monster by like the mid part or or towards the end. And they never do that for this. Like the even when we see his still life, his giant pirate monster version of himself, it still doesn't demystify what the Backrooms is. Like it still doesn't explain really 80% of what we've seen throughout the movie, and you still are kind
Yeah.
of left there going like, well, what the hell else is in there? This isn't
Hmm.
just it. This is like surface level. Like there's billions of floors, it looks like. And so I think that takes me to my question that I have for both of y'all is, would you, if they, let's say they go like, hey, we got everybody back again, obviously not all the actors because Ejiofor's character is dead.
Right.
But let's say they just come back and they say, "We got everybody back in town, man. We're gonna do it again. Backrooms 2. Would you go see it? Because I would."
I would because I
Okay.
want to see more backrooms. I really like the concept. I like the like psychological thriller portion of it. I don't really care for the doctor, and that's just me. I don't think that it was compelling enough. Like if they do another backrooms and it's like, yeah, they set her up, but they go a different route with a different group, I would 100% watch that. If she's the main focus of number two, I would begrudgingly watch it because, like, yeah, I want to see more backrooms, but I don't care about her character.
That's interesting. I think it would be good because like I think they set it up for her to go deeper into her story and how it all connects. Like
Yeah.
in my like
Actually, oh, I'm sorry.
I think they set it up like really good if they want to do a second one and then obviously bring her back. And
Hmm.
I think with her trauma brings in more weird scenarios for the back room, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think, well, it's funny because I don't know if they will bring her back because I think they're definitely going to make a
Yeah.
sequel.
I
I'm
hope
pretty
not.
sure. I think she did a fantastic job. I think you're being way too harsh on her for some reason.
No, it's
Um,
not. It's not her. I don't think that she acted poorly or whatever. I'm
Let
just
me
saying
rephrase
I
that.
don't
I
think that
think they
they
did a
made.
good job with the character. I think they did a good enough
Yeah,
job with the
I don't think they
character.
did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
her as an actor, she did really great. She delivered a really good performance. I just didn't really care for her character too much.
sure, it's fine. It doesn't matter. In my mind, I don't think she survives the ending of the film. I think they pretty much kill her at the end. When they cut to her still life being in the back rooms version of the interrogation room, they do it right as she asks what's going to happen to her, and they're like, "Well, I don't get to make that decision." And they start trying to ask her questions, and then we start seeing all the back rooms, and that's where her still life is. I'm like, I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure she's dead. Now she might not be, but that's just the way my brain goes. Is like I'm pretty sure they cap her or the worst case scenario lobotomize her and make her like her mom.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe she'll pop up in like a Final Destination 2 type of way, where it's
Like
like,
a
hey, we're
psych ward.
following a different group. Yeah, but she's in a psych ward type deal. And then they're
Yeah.
like, we have questions. And they're like, who is it? They open the door. It's the doctor. Um,
Yeah.
that is possible. Again, I think it would be cool. I would love to see more backroom stuff. I know that there was another movie that's announced that's supposed to be a similar concept. It's called The Space Between. I sent that to you guys. Essentially, it's very similar, but it takes place in like a mall, and it's going to be very heavy on like liminal space as opposed to backroom space, if that makes sense. Because there's a slight difference, like variation. I've come to learn as far as just seeing things online. Um, but I think that one sounds promising, and I think obviously with the backrooms being announced, there's probably going to be way more projects that are very similar because that just tends to happen. People are like, "Oh, the backrooms movie's coming out. We should do something the same." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what that one's about because it's just about I think it's a mall security guard getting caught in a liminal space mall, and it from what I read, haven't read too much on it, but from what I did read on it, it sounded pretty good. It sounded pretty interesting, and I think they're probably going to go more the horror route than like psychological thriller route.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. One of the things I didn't even realize, so like one of the, I think this is more of a spin-off than anything with like, so like the Backrooms was created, they did the video series and then they made a games, but there was
Hmm.
also like a spin-off called like the Escape Rooms, which
Okay.
is very similar. I'm not sure if you guys have seen anything,
Hmm.
any of those videos, but it's almost the same thing in a sense, but the whole idea is obviously escaping these liminal spaces. And so like
Hmm.
there'll be like these, it'll literally look the same, but then like on a wall there'll be like three different like shoots. One's like enter here, one's like exit, and
Oh,
the other
okay.
one's like
Yes.
death.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
then you have to pick which one they go to and like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's very similar. Like I'm sure someone will do something like that.
Yeah.
Or even like even a short series and stuff. Cause I
Very
know
like
that
Squid Games like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And that like blew up that those games because those became games too. Those
Hmm.
blew up like crazy. As soon as the
Yeah.
backrooms were released and stuff.
I saw that they did a like the Backrooms game that came out did an official collaboration with the movie, and so I guess I forgot like if you have to pay for it or if you like it just automatically does it if you have the game. But apparently, there's like a VHS of the movie that you can find in the game, and when you put it in the VCR, it'll play a clip from the movie when Clark is like first discovering the backrooms, and then you can also find that same portal and explore the backrooms from the movie. I was like, that's a pretty cool collab. Like that's
That's great.
obviously if you have the game and then you have the movie, and then they're like, hey, like let's just mesh the two into an official collaboration, and like I was like, I would love to play that.
Yeah. I think I'm here for it. I think I'm really liking the psychological horror we've been getting recently, except for that one movie you said was a complete bust. Um,
Oh,
but
whatever you do, don't waste your time watching Hokum. Hokum is a 4 out of 10, and I'm so mad that I watched it because I fell for this trap of Instagram comments where people were like, Hokum is the best. We're so back. This is the best. This is like peak horror, yada, yada, yada. And I went into it. Nothing happens in this movie. Nothing happens until like the middle of the movie, right? The character motivations suck because the character that they portrayed and the reasoning as to why he's doing what he's doing do not coincide even in the slightest. And I'm just gonna. You guys probably are gonna watch it. Are you gonna watch it?
no,
No.
Okay, perfect. So the whole movie is about a witch. Guess how many times the witch shows up?
once.
Twice.
So close.
Technically, you were right because yes, she shows up once where you can see her. The other time, you can hear her. That's it. And the whole movie is supposed to be about a witch. And then there's like one jump scare. The rest is just a bunch of unsettling set design, which is supposed to make you feel like, oh yeah, whatever. Um, but like the main character, they write him to be this like cold hearted piece of crap, and then he's like rude to everybody, disrespectful. Like there's one point where one of the bellboys at the hotel is like talking to him, and as he's talking to him, he's like lighting a spoon to get it really hot, and then as the guy's talking to him, he's like, yeah,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
that heroin or meth,
And
whatever
then
one it
no,
was.
no, no. And then he just like burns the guy for no reason. And I was like,
Nice.
okay, cool. And then his whole motivation is to help one of the girls who was like working there who disappeared. And again, does not fit the entire thing. Like, she saved his life, and he was like semi mad about it. And then he was like, well, I got to do the same for her. It's like, but you've presented throughout this entire movie that you don't care about anybody. So I don't know. It was so bad.
Quick side review. Hokum, not the best movie. Maybe pass on it.
Hokum, 4 out of 10. Wait for streaming.
Okay.
Wait for
I'll wait for it to hit streaming and then I'll give it a shot. I
Or
don't
pirate
actually
it.
know if we don't endorse. We don't condone, nor do we
No, no, no. I was
endorse
talking about Pirate Clark. Pirate Clark.
yeah.
Pirate Clark
Yeah,
in the movie The
yeah.
Backrooms.
Backrooms. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
see, full circle, full circle. Yeah. Well, I guess that pretty much covers it for the Backrooms.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 beans, highly recommend. 1 bean, decently recommends.
Decently recommends. Yeah, if you
Decent.
like
So good.
the
It's
visuals and you
slightly
want to
above
be
average for one of the beans.
exactly, but we've hit a reverse. Okay, this is one of the movies that's hit a reverse. Remember, because you're saying like typically I say, oh my gosh, this is trash. 8 out of 10. Correct. This one, I'm actually saying it's pretty good,
6 out of
but
10.
I do give it a 6.8 out of 10 because
You're
it's
not
not
dick.
that great.
It's so good. I
You're
think it's
still
so
not
Like,
good.
okay,
you're not bolstering your point here.
I have to preface why I say it's not great is the story. Visually, it's great. If it was just the visuals alone, like, I'd probably go like 8 out of 10. Visually, it was good. And the reason I say that is because coming out of Exit 8 was really good. And not a whole lot happened in there, but they at least had something grounded enough to make it be like, oh, okay, this story is pushing it forward. And then they kind of abandon, like, if you watch Exit 8, there's really not a whole lot of dialogue. So everything that you're watching is all just camera work, visuals, and things like that. And so then going into this, I was like I know you could do better. I know that they could have done better with the story itself.
But see, like again, that I think if they tried to do more than what they did, it would take away from the back rooms and like the lore that they created.
Well, I don't think
I
they
think
did. I don't think they
to
should have
me, I
done
think they
more.
added just enough where it's just a continued mystery,
I just
I
don't.
which is
think they
why I
could have
like it.
taken. I think
I
they could
ty-
have taken.
typically I try to find
Give me
like
less.
moments. I try to find moments where I'm like, oh, here's what I could change. Here's what I could edit to make it better. And a lot of things that I would go in there to edit it to make it better are like superfluous, or we'd have to completely redo the movie in a different way. Because if you wanted to do something like the only way the movie would have been like a 9 or a 10 is that we needed more horror elements of it. For me, like just like because I wasn't
Hmm.
scared when I walked away from the movie. I wasn't scared of the movie. I wasn't scared of the back rooms. Um,
Hmm.
so that's the only reason like I like knock it down a little bit because I did go into it expecting a horror movie and I got more of a suspense thriller, which wasn't bad. I just
Yeah.
it's just it's not gonna be like my horror go to in the month of Halloween kind of thing. With all
Right.
that being said, though, I still think the movie was good. I really don't know how much I would have changed from the script as given to like fix any of the quote unquote problems. I really can't even nitpick anything right now. So yeah, I just don't really know what I would change to fix anything. Um, but yeah, no, I think it was good. I think we all agree that it was at least it lived up to the expectation because I think my expectation would have been like a 6 or a 7 going into it. So shut up, stop it. And then so exceeded my expectations, exceeded Micah's expectations,
Yeah.
met expectations for Ryan. Um,
Hey, no,
maybe
actually, ironically enough, it exceeded my expectations.
perfect, perfect. It exceeded all of our expectations. What I think next movie that's coming out is going to be either it's probably going to be Supergirl. It's probably the next movie we'll all watch
Mm,
Mhm.
because that's coming
Most
out.
likely. I
Is
think
that
that's the
next?
closest right now. But I will say, as he looks that up, Um,
Oh no, that's at the end of the month.
if you are interested in this movie, go watch it in theaters. You might as well. I think that it is one of
It
those
will
that
be a
like
lot better if they watch it in theaters. This one,
yes, I
100%.
think you'll get a
100%.
better visual experience. You'll appreciate the sound design a lot more. The entire experience, you'll get a better. It'll be better in theaters. So like, definitely take the time, go out, watch it. Let us know what you think. You may not love the story, or you may love the story, but you can't argue that visually it's an impressive movie.
I agree. I also watched something
Yeah.
else that's like, I think a lot of people left the movie feeling like that's it. Like there should have been
Oh, dude, I
more.
left that
So,
movie feeling sick.
and that how like those people like just don't know movies.
Have y'all
I
Yeah.
noticed that
mean,
there's like
but
this weird artificial hate for Supergirl?
What do you
Like,
mean by artificial?
okay. No, I'm not. I'm not. I don't want to get into debate. I just sorry. I searched Supergirl like release date. It says it's June 26th. It's the end of the month.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
the first three articles are like three articles popped up, and all three of the articles are from the same news outlet. And I had to click it because all of them are saying the same thing. It's like expectations for Supergirl extra low, bomb in imminent. And I'm like, who
Yeah.
is this? And then I click the article, and they're all written by the same person on the same day. I was like, bro, you wrote three articles trashing the movie on the same day on this website. I was like,
Yeah.
I guarantee you this guy owns this website. Anyway, I've just been seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, I have too. Um, I feel like it's unwarranted because I also feel like people were saying that the reason that they are going to hate Supergirl is because Superman was a flop. And I was like, how was Superman a flop? Like that movie was good. I just rewatched it the other day because I set up my sound bar and I was like, I need a movie that just feels like theatrical to play on
Yeah.
this thing to really get the experience. And I was like, this is a great movie. Like people who are hating on James Gunn and his DCU and all this just really are riding a little too hard for Zack Snyder. And like
which is
a
crazy to
majority
me.
of the 100%, and a majority of the people that like will bash on James Gunn are like, we need to restore the Snyderverse. And I'm like, no, they did us a favor getting rid of the Snyderverse. The Snyderverse sucked.
And see,
So I'm excited for
I
Supergirl.
I like Zack
Just not
Snyder's
Lobo.
Man of Steel. I like elements of
You muted yourself.
elements of
We can't
his.
hear you.
You're such a
Oh,
bad
I
take.
got an alarm that went off.
Oh,
All that to say is that yeah, exactly. All that to say is that I don't hate Zack Snyder's like attempt at Justice League. It's just
yeah.
that they couldn't get other directors on the same vision, so so like the whole studio just like collapsed in on itself. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks. Like, don't get me wrong, he had some cool ideas and some really cool visuals, but we
All
had
I'm
the shot.
saying,
Like we had the shot. What was it? It was 10 years of an attempt, maybe 12. So I'm just like, we did it. Like what are they gonna do? Fucking drag it up from the depths of the deep to try and give it another shot now that they've got a new head of the studio? Like if you're a
yeah.
real fan of comic books, like if you're
Hmm.
a real fan of comic books, you should want superhero movies to succeed in the sentence. You should be like, I really
Yeah.
hope this movie comes out and it's good. But I've heard people and I've seen people make the statement, so they say, even if it's good, I hope it fails. And I'm like, that's wild. I can't imagine not wanting good media.
Right.
That's just insane to me.
But
Anyway,
also,
that's
if
another
you
rant for
are
another
not
time.
excited for Supergirl, if you're not excited for Supergirl, take the time, read the story that it comes from, and I promise you'll get excited for this movie because the story that it is pulling from is a really good story.
Ryan, those people can't read.
That's true.
E- But
You're right.
even if you don't, like I think so like I mean, I don't. But the thing that I do know is that I think James Gunn makes really good movies of not mainstream superheroes.
Yes.
And that's why I'm excited to watch this movie.
He has
Yeah.
a good way of bringing like these ragtag comic book characters and giving them a life that is like, oh, now people want to go back and read about these characters. Now people want to go back and you know look at more of these characters because even the characters that he used for the Guardians, like most people were like, oh, why is that the Guardians group? But then you go and watch the movie and you're like, this is the perfect
Yeah.
group dynamic for this set of Guardians.
Mhm. Yeah, I
I
mean,
agree.
he made the Guardians a household name. Like
Yeah,
nobody knew who
and
they
then you go.
were.
I mean, and then you go and look at like Peacemaker. He gave him a new light, and everybody's like, "Oh, I love Peacemaker. I want to go watch Peacemaker." You look at
True.
Creature Commandos. Now everybody's like, "Oh, I want to learn more about Creature Commandos." I think James Gunn has a really good way, like you said, Micah. He's a really good way of like bringing these characters into a new light for other people to fall in love with them the way that he did,
Hmm.
and that's what I'm excited for.
I
The
think, and
only thing that I'm not excited for on Supergirl is
it's
Lobo.
Lobo. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But I think if you look at what James Gunn is doing with the DC universe, I know this just kind of spun off into a rant. I'm so sorry. Um, is you can look and see he's willing to take risks on the elements of the comic book properties that the studio wasn't willing to do recently. We
Mm.
got
Mhm.
Creature Commandos, we got both the Peacemaker season two, though reasonably we could say that would have happened regardless if James Gunn took over
Mhm.
because that first season was so successful. So really we just look at Creature Commandos. He did the safe Superman, but then he went wild with Superman. He did all the crazy things inside of it. We got pocket dimensions, we got um, uh,
He did Suicide Squad, yeah.
he
I think
did
we also got the imps, right?
yeah, we got the M's, but we also got the introduction of the proto Justice League where we just
Mhm.
straight up threw in Mr. Terrific, threw in Hawk Girl, and threw in a Green Lantern. And then we took Metamorpho, the guy that can change into anything. We did that. These were all like very comic booky things. And what's the next thing he's doing? We got a Clayface movie coming out. That's going to be a horror movie.
Ah, that
And
looks so good.
I'm like, thank you. Yes, 100%. Take risks. Like,
Mhm.
I can only watch the 18th Batman movie so many times until we finally convince general audiences there are other things worth watching. I was really hoping Flash was going to be the knockout, like where we got like a good Flash movie, and that didn't happen. And then, unfortunately, for some reason, everybody and their mom went to go see Aquaman, and I'm like, that's one of the worst movies in my personal opinion. I don't care. I don't
Mhm.
personally like it, but it made $1 billion.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know what people want to watch. So
But
whatever. I just know what I want to watch.
even then, like going back to like these movies, The Backrooms, and then even Obsession, and some of the other horror movies that has come out of these, you know, started from these just taking a shot on these ideas and movies. Like,
Mhm.
bro, what was Obsessions? It was like 750K budget.
Mhm.
Really?
It's yeah, like super
Yeah,
cheap.
yeah, yeah.
And then Backrooms was fairly cheap in
10 million.
comparison to like it was 10 million,
10 million.
yeah,
Yeah.
to like
It
what
was a
it's gonna
seven hundred
make.
fifty thousand dollar budget. How much money did this movie make?
But they made I mean, what did he make like over $100 million
Yeah, 170 million.
off of a
It's probably
seven
gonna do
hundred and
more
fifty
after
million?
like all
Yeah,
the word of talk it's getting. And
yeah.
so it's like,
Well, that and I was just talking to Micah before we started recording. They were originally set to release the DVDs on June 2nd. They were going to do like digital releases and physical releases, but because the movie was doing so good, they extended it, and now it's Obsession is still in theaters. I think until late June or early July. So they got another month of a theatrical run, which is unheard of for like lesser known projects. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like I look at the budget for Clayface, it's $40 million.
Hmm.
I mean, sure, it's four times the budget of the Backrooms, but that's nothing. That's nothing. A
Yeah.
superhero,
yeah.
category. I think Superman was what 225 million, and then Supergirl's like 160 million or something like that.
Hmm.
So if they clear 140, they've already made all their money back with Clayface. So I think some of these cooler, smaller scale stories would be really nice. So that way, when we do the big stories, they feel big again. Because
Yeah.
that was the thing with like Iron Man kind of felt big, but then Thor felt really localized to like the small town, and then Asgard, and then Captain
Hmm.
America was pretty small, and then we got really big with Avengers, and then they started
Hmm.
shrinking things again. But then superhero movies got so big, so aggressively big that they get the balloon for their budget is insane.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
So
I will say, tying it back to the Backrooms, for a $10 million budget, and obviously you look at the differences in like the cast and payment and everything like that. The fact that they went fully practical with the set was just so impressive. Like, because even down to, I think there's one scene where they're passing through different layers of the back rooms, and like none of those shots are used in the movie, but they had to take the time to do that. So like the grocery store parking lot, the furniture store parking lot, things like that. They had to take the time to build that entire set for like a couple seconds of a shot, which is fine because visually it looks so much better that these
Yeah.
people were able to walk around, physically interact with this actual landscape, and it made it feel a little bit more real as to what they were doing, as opposed to saying like, hey, like we have a couple pieces on the ground here, the rest is going to be back, like it's going to be like a blue screen or something like that we can digitally throw you guys under. um that physical set makes all the difference, and I'm excited to see if they do, because obviously they're going to do backrooms too, like that's not a question. I'm excited to see how much crazier they get with the set design and the set production.
That
And
will be interesting to
especially,
see because the director talked about in an interview, like I think someone asked him of like the use of either CGI or even like AI being
oh, it
used
was
in like
AI.
movies. And so it's
Yeah.
just like he was just saying how like consumers or audience members like would see it and it just like would like obviously people would tell, but it would also obviously make them disengage with the movie. And so it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it's art and you want people to engage with it and keep them engaged throughout the whole movie. And that's the whole reason why he went about the ways that he did. And because like if he were to see something that had the use of AI, he would disengage with it, which I think is a
Yeah.
really good point. And
Mhm.
it's also a good point of like when we do see good movies and good production, it's like it just keeps you engaged throughout the whole
Yeah.
movie. I think that's what this movie did, and it's kind of to your point. If or when they do the second movie, it'd be really cool to see what they
Mhm.
do with that, and even what they do with even a bigger budget. And because they're going to give them a bigger budget if they do
Oh,
give them
yeah.
the free reins to make a second movie.
Yeah.
Shit, if they can do this with 10 million, give them 40 to 50. Let's let them go wild and let's let them do what they want to do. I don't even
Even,
think they. Go ahead.
oh, no, go ahead. Do what you're saying.
I was just gonna say, like, all I would want right now, realistically, is, and it's just because I'm kind of like a slasher buff. I'd say let's just kind of go the route of most sequels. We're gonna take that cast. We're gonna take two main characters that we care about, and be like, oh my gosh, these are our two main guys, and we give them about 4 to 5 red shirts that are just gonna be there to die. And
Yeah.
we just that way we can like really explore how lethal the back rooms can be, or
Hmm.
not just with the monsters. Let's start messing with some really weird mind stuff. I want to see some crazy things. I know it's a stupid. Me and Ryan have talked about Cube 1,000 times, and it's such a great movie. But I'm like, that statement literally froze you in time for a second there on my
Yeah.
screen. I like a cube style backrooms. I'm not necessarily saying traps like to the as gory as they
Hmm.
get in Cube, but like, what if you step into a different area of the backrooms and things are just randomly inverted? Like you see a
Hmm.
guy walks through and then gravity's going the other direction. He just falls straight up and dies because he plummets 80 feet to the ground, but the ground is
Yeah.
that way. You know, that's just some cool stuff that would be like crazy to see.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that was one of the running theories with this Backrooms movie, is that if you pay attention to a lot of the little things in the movie, apparently some of these rooms exist in other parts of time. So, like, obviously, they're digging in a little deeper with that. But a couple notable things is the seagull. When he goes into the back rooms, that seagull is like dead, but like there's one that's partially alive. Apparently, they're saying like that's the same one that's been there. And then even with Clark, when the first guy at the beginning of the movie who's getting chased down is being chased by the pirate Clark. Um, but Clark has never been in the back rooms yet. So how does this have him when he hasn't been there yet? So it's like they're saying that obviously the back rooms moves different in time in certain areas, even with the Christmas tree part, right? So if you're looking at the redhead with the wig who stands behind Clark the entire time when he's talking to the doctor, the wig is on perfectly, right? But when you enter the Christmas room, like what, 10, 20 minutes before they even get to that scene, she's running at him with her head already scalped. So like they're essentially, and I could be wrong, but essentially people are saying that the back rooms, each room has its own space in time as well. And I was like, that's a cool concept. If they do that, then I would love to see them do that more because that ties back into like what you were saying with Cube, where I think it's Cube 2, when
Yeah,
that couple goes into the room and then
yeah,
they just like instantly die because time moves differently and it moves a lot faster in there.
yeah. It was. I'm thinking stuff like that, but also like we'll wrap it up here. But that scene with Kat when she's behind the
Hmm.
wall and she sees glass on her side, but on his side he sees a wall.
Hmm.
So like we can play with that. We didn't get to see that visually from both perspectives. We can play
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I think that'll be really cool. I think there's more to explore. I think that if they do that second one, they really have their work cut out for just diving deeper into the back rooms. I like
Mhm.
as much as I care about the backstory with how you get there. I don't think I care that much to see if they do. I don't want them to focus on the company that's exploring the back rooms. I like. I don't want them to go that route. They could easily go that route, and I don't want them to. So I want to see what they do with the back rooms this next time
Yeah.
to expand that. Even
Okay.
if they double his budget, I think that it'll be good. Like if you go
Oh
from
yeah.
10 mil to 20 mil, like the set's already done.
The only
And if
reason
you
I
already
think,
have plans to use it, then they're not going to spend another chunk of change
Yeah.
building a new one. They're just going to keep it there.
yeah, I was just thinking 40, 20 to 40 because I was thinking of like the need for buying a bunch of extras essentially and like
Hmm.
getting a bunch of people in there to kind of sell the scope of it a little bit bigger, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. I,
But I think that's
I'm
like
down
I
for
think that's what
whatever.
they did well is like they didn't have very many actors in the movie. It was like
Yeah, it
it
was.
was very
Yeah.
low, and I think even then like it was great because it's like I don't know how to explain it. It just kept giving this like aloneness in the
Mhm.
movie,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, just
Isolation.
like yeah, very there you go, like very isolation to the back rooms and like just the world that it was in, which I thought
Hmm.
was really good.
Yeah.
Because like even down to like when he goes to visit Kat and her boyfriend to go get the camera, like when he shows up, it feels empty. Like it feels like nobody's there. And I think they did a really good job visually creating, like you said, that loneliness and then pushing them all together and then just like going crazy in the back room.
Mm. Good movie.
Yeah.
Eh, 8.5 out of 10. I'm gonna bump it up to the 8.5. I'm gonna keep it there. So good. Well,
All right. I'll cut you some slack.
7.
We'll reevaluate and I'll give it a 7.2.
Oh, let's
I
go.
feel
We
like
got him.
that's better.
We got him,
I feel like
boys.
that's better.
We got him. All
6.8
right.
was where my heart was at the first time through.
Podcast is over. He bumped the rating. We're good.
Cut it, cut it. Shut it
Cut it.
off while we're ahead. No, just kidding. Hurry before he changes his mind. But yeah, so with the backrooms, as you guys watch the movie or dive into the lore and prepare yourself for the next one, we would love to know what you guys think. And I want to know personally, do you love the story? Do you love the visuals? Do you love both? And what other projects can we find that are very similar to this? So keep an eye out for the space between, and also keep an eye out for Supergirl.
Adios.
We'll catch you guys later.